Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, and welcome. I am Illuminati, and this is the Crypto and Cognac podcast show, as always, live every Thursday evening, sharp 7 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time, right here in the Caribbean on YouTube, coming to you. And as always, joined by my co-host, Mr. Stevie Renwick. Yo, Steven, well gone, my brother. And as always, I got my Henny, my other co-host. This evening, we about to crack open a bottle of VSOP. You guys know this is my favorite. This is the one I love. I love all Hennessy, but this one, special place in my heart. So let's do it. And we're gonna have ourselves a swiggle as we get into this crazy cryptic world of cryptocurrency. So cheers to you guys. Season 5, episode 22. And today we are talking about the arrest of Telegram founder Mr. Pavel Durov and what that means for our space, the crypto space, the blockchain space. But first, some cognac info, right? So guys, I started a couple weeks ago sharing a little bit of tidbit about my cognac, the cognac that is my favorite. Today I want to tell you all a little bit about Hennessy VSOP. This was actually originally created, I think, in 1817 at the request of the then to be King of England, King George. Was it George the Fifth? He requested a special blend, and so was born Hennessy VSOP. All the 𝐂𝐎𝐍s in this blend has to be aged for a minimum of 4 years to get the classification of VSOP, but most of them are aged for much, much longer than that. And Hennessy VSOP is made up of at least 60 𝐂𝐎𝐍s. So at least 60 different blends, well, not blends, individual 𝐂𝐎𝐍s, individually cured segments of cognac are then blended together to make Hennessy VSOP for our enjoyment all across the world. So cheers to my friends in China who I know love it. Cheers to my friends in the US who love it. Cheers to my friends in Jamaica who I know love it. And cheers to my friends everywhere in the Caribbean who enjoy themselves some Hennessy VSOP. And guys, before we jump into the conversation, as always, the ICE rule: information, conversation, education. This is not a financial advisory podcast. I am not a financial advisor. Nothing that I share here today, yesterday, day after, tomorrow should be misconstrued as financial advice. We're here for a good time and a long time, and just to share with each other. So I share with you, you share with me, Steven shares with us, and hopefully on the back end of that, we step away from this episode with a little bit more awareness about this space that we have grown to love, respect, and at times fear, right? So Pavel Durov was arrested in France on the 24th, and it took the space by shock, because he is a guy who plays quite a critical role in terms of the promotion of encrypted communication. He is a huge advocate for free speech, and of course, he has very close ties to the blockchain space. He's huge investor. He is a major component of or supporter of the open network or TON blockchain, which I think was initially created on Telegram. So he and his arrest, I mean, it feels like they're trying to shake us. They're doing everything in their power to shake us out of our cryptocurrency, right? What's kind of crazy to me is the charges, right? So the charges include complicity in enabling illegal transactions by organized groups, failure to cooperate with law enforcement, and the involvement in the distribution of illicit content, including child pornography, drug trafficking through Telegram. Now, what's crazy to me, and I'm going to go there right away, is the way that these Western powers treat with platforms and their founders who are not of them, who are not on their side of the fence, right? We could compare this to what we saw happen with TikTok in the US, where they wanted to ban TikTok, and as compared to what has happened in the US with Zuckerberg and they. I mean, yes, Zuckerberg has been brought before the Congress several times to be questioned, but very lightly as it relates to Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp. But he's not faced any charges. And we know the kind of ish that gets sent across WhatsApp, gets sent across Instagram, gets posted on Instagram, gets posted on Facebook. And then as it relates to pornography, nonsense, child dis, any kind of just debauchery you could think of, there is no other platform in this world that is more conducive to that than Twitter, than X. But somehow Elon out here living his best life, right? But Pavel, which should give you guys some context, is Russian, right? He holds a Russian passport. He hasn't lived there for a very long time, I think over 10 years. But to the Western powers, he is Russian. And there's been a lot of speculation about this being a political move, right? Trying to put pressure on Russia for various reasons, trying to, undermine Russia as it relates to crypto space as they start making steps and strides towards legitimizing crypto and Bitcoin and blockchain in their neck of the woods. And the Russian government have said very clearly that they are watching on to see what becomes of this, right? I think Pavel is out on bail. I think he had to post $5 million in bail. He is required to stay in France. He is required to check in, I think, twice a week. So we're going to see what happens as it relates to that, right? Obviously, we saw a sharp decline in Toncoin after the arrest. I believe it has since recovered a bit. But most importantly, what we saw is that the crypto community rallied behind Pavel. We saw prominent people like Mr. Justin Sun. We saw Vitalik speak up on it, and even Mr. Elon Musk speaking up against his arrest, right? So he is finding some support in all the different corners of the communication space as well as the crypto space. Now, just to give a little bit more, I guess, relevance to our conversations, he also does hold a Caribbean passport, right? He has a passport for St. Kitts and Nevis, I believe. So he's one of us too. So we had to check for we boy, right? Now I not gonna put my head on a block and say that this man not involved in folly. But as far as the charges, complicity, that just mean that I didn't do what you expected that I should have done in relation to stuff that is being done by other people on a platform that I created. But as I always say, let's use the same measuring stick to apply to everybody else, right? What's going on in YouTube? What's going on Twitter? What's going on Facebook? What's going on WhatsApp? Let's treat with all of them the same way, right? Now, my major concern about this whole proceeding is how does this affect the crypto space? Because Telegram is such an important tool in our industry that we have to be concerned as to whether or not this is going to be used. His arrest is going to be used to undermine Telegram as we know it. And Telegram, for as long as I have been in this space, and I think as far back as the 2017 ICO boom, has been the go-to platform for crypto projects, for communities, for influencers, right? Obviously, the Crypto and Cognac group chat is on Telegram. And just because of how many members are allowed in a Telegram group. Now, WhatsApp would have recently increased their numbers, I think, to 500 and something. But in Telegram, you could have tens of thousands of people in a group. So it has been a key platform in terms of for decentralization, in terms of responding to the fast-paced nature of crypto, in terms of responding to the communal nature of crypto, in terms of funding, crowdfunding, ICO funding, DeFi projects. I mean, blockchain initiatives start on Telegram. Telegram has since introduced their own crypto wallet. Obviously, privacy and anonymity that Telegram offers. How does this industry respond should this important tool be taken away, right? And it's beyond just the investor relations, because developers, trading signals groups, I mean, there's a whole industry of bot developers on Telegram that help people do all kinds of things, from managing communities, managing their customer base. What happens if this arrest leads to him having to comply with certain requests and requirements from these European and Western governments? What does this next stage for crypto look like as a result of this? I mean, he has been a huge advocate for decentralization, a huge advocate for a censorship-free environment, a censorship-free world. So what next? It could get crazy. It could get crazy. And if they are successful with Telegram, what's next? Discord? WhatsApp? What does that say, or what does that bode for our future in communication, right? Because communication is supposed to be private, it's supposed to be encrypted, it's supposed to be one-to-one between you and the person you're communicating with. If that is infringed upon, what next? And it brings us back to the original the original intent. You know, it brings us back to why I believe one of the absolute best things that Satoshi did for Bitcoin, for crypto, for this space was to disappear. Because no matter how decentralized a structure is, if there is one founder or two founders, because Pavel would have founded Telegram with his brother, there is a potential single source point of failure, because the powers that be who don't want change to happen can find you wherever, and take away your freedom on some trumped up BS charges. Complicity. That's what my boy being charged with, you know, complicity. Not that he did anything, you know, but he didn't stop it from happening, because that's his responsibility. His responsibility is to police Telegram. That's not his responsibility. That's like blaming the person who invented the internet for every nonsense that goes on the internet. You understand? They're not blaming school teachers for kids getting shut up. They're not blaming police. They're not blaming administrators. They're not finding the US government infrastructure complicit for all the mass shootings that they have in their country every single year, every single day. No, that's not complicity. Right? It is what it is. So they put the clamps on another one of us, right? We've seen so many of us get taken down rightly and wrongly, and always it's impacted the markets. We've seen the dips in the market this week as a result of it. Fear, uncertainty, doubt. But CZ gonna be out soon. Pavel out on bail. SBF might never see the light of day, but who knows? Cartel free, so anybody can get out. You know what I mean? Guys. So we watch, we wait to see if any of these charges stick. Dude is a billionaire. If it's one thing he can afford, his lawyers. Jay-Z always say more important than change the cup is lawyer fees, right? So I think he have enough in his kitty, and I'm sure he has it in places that they can't access if he knows about securing your keys and securing your coins. But in the meantime, we on the outside, we watch, we wait to see what happens. Let's see if they're going to make us a move against another person. Zuckerberg, they coming for you? Elon by? If Trump don't win, they might be after you next. Maybe that's why my boy has found the will to support Pavel. But guys, in the meantime, in between time, we're gonna stay committed, stay educating ourselves, stay paying attention, stay committed to stacking those Satoshis. Every little drop counts, because if it could happen to guys like this, if it could happen to billionaires, trust and believe it could happen to you. If they could seize their funds, they could seize your funds. Anything in the bank, anything that the government has access to, they can take away, from land to money in the bank, stocks, once it's centralized. So protect yourself, protect your neck. You know what I mean? And that's it for me. Yeah. So until next time, guys, thank you for being with me. Thank you for having a drink with me. And no matter what they say, no matter what they do, adoption is inevitable, right? So do for 1 second, allow them to let you think that it's not coming. And when it does happen, boy, oh boy, do we see, I should have listened to Illuminati, because I'm not giving you no advice, right? Guys, be blessed. Illuminati out. Be safe. Happy Independence to everybody in Trinidad and Tobago and wherever else in the world you are celebrating your freedom. Cheers.